Go.
We're live?
Yeah, I thought you said maybe.
Thank you.
We're live.
Hi, Internet. Welcome. We're here. We're getting excited for episode 3 of House of the Dragon. So we figured we'd do our weekly
Talk forward.
Talk forward.
Jesus
There it is.
Christ.
Or that.
It's not a talk back, it's a talk forward.
I'm Audie.
I'm Travis.
I'm Kate.
I'm Boone.
I'm Andrew.
Liz is over there. I'm Mark.
We are the Knights of the Drunk Watch.
And,
And
now,
now
our
our
talk
talk
begins.
Forward begins.
Okay, so I would say the first thing we should discuss is we were a little bit disappointed that the first episode had no opening credits, but now we got some opening credits with the main Game of Thrones theme, which was fun, but I don't know. Any thoughts about...
I think what we're seeing, like my personal guess.
Oh, I know.
He
Go ahead.
analyzed it.
Oh, okay. Well,
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I just think it's the model.
Yeah.
The reason for that is I don't think it's Dragonstone. I think it's actually I think it is Valyria.
That's
Before the fall, so I think he talks about it a little bit in his conversation with Alicent. That is the glory of old Valyria and what it used to look like, and I think that's what we're going through in the previews, the intro. The intro is what we're going at.
opening credits.
But
Main
yes.
title.
So the model that he's working on is Old Valyria. And so this is Old Valyria. It is the bloodlines of the House Targaryen.
Oh, that's cool.
If you and I confirmed it with the
Like,
internet.
so they
I thought
all,
of it
like-
before I confirmed it with the internet, but I confirmed it with the
And then
internet.
at the end, they all
So,
come together.
um,
Sorry, guys.
but you'll notice
That's
because
fine for
trying to
us.
figure out what the things were that were growing up, because they like in the old one it was Winterfell and it was the House of Lannister and House.
Like
this
the
is-
mechanical thing?
Yeah, this is the because Mark pointed out early on that you eventually come through Viserys' crown,
I noticed the crown, but
and then you follow the blood from that, and the symbol is the necklace that Rhaenyra is wearing.
But also, just a quick side note on that as far as Viserys' crown. So Aegon the Conqueror, actually, he made a crown of iron with very big rubies in it. A few other kings after him had that crown, but then I think it was Aemon the First or something created the crown that Viserys wears. So there have been 1 or 2 crowns, maybe 3 crowns that the Targaryen kings have worn, and Viserys has.
But
Sorry to interrupt really quickly. Everybody who is watching, if you have questions or things you'd like us to discuss, please just drop them in the chat below. I'm monitoring. Go ahead.
But yes, so if you watch as the blood, it starts with the Doom of Valyria. That's the first symbol. Aegon the Conqueror, and the Doom of Valyria. At one point, it goes and like the blood goes everywhere. That's Jaehaerys,
So
the old king,
For
because he had like 13
clarification,
children.
How far after the Doom of Valyria are we in House of Dragons? Versus...
Well, no one alive remembers Valyria.
I will say the Doom of Valyria
the dragon
happened.
that died was the last one.
Yeah.
I remember that.
The Doom of Valyria happened, I want to say, at least maybe 200 years before Aegon conquered Westeros. And at this point, it has now been 120 years since the conquest. So, do
So around
math.
So 300 years before Game of Thrones.
Right.
and 300 years after the Doom of Valyria, more or less.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
But yeah, so the blood kind of goes all. It's the 13 children of Jaehaerys, and then you'll
Spread
notice
them
as
around.
we're following it through, you'll see in the back that there's blood too. So
Yeah,
'cause
it's not so much a flat map. It looks like a room, like we're moving through.
Yeah, because there were some that looked
Well,
like it
it's
was
crawling
up,
over the
or there was a
model,
little
but
waterfall.
Okay.
I feel I gotta watch that
Yeah.
multiple more times.
Blood was pouring downstairs the entire time in the Escher painting.
Yeah, I will say though, we focus a lot when we talk about Targaryens, especially with Dany, on the
Ollie
fire
says
blood.
Yes.
Hi Kate. On the fire part of Fire and Blood, but
There was no
Hi,
fire.
Ollie.
but this one is and not just the blood that that they cause by burning people with fire, but like the blood of old Valyria,
Yeah.
the blood of the Targaryens that they are desperately trying to keep pure in the grossest of ways.
Hello, Ollie. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah. Everyone's saying hi. So I think the first thing that came up in the episode, I think, was Corlys, the sea snake, who I'm going to say he is one of my most favorite characters so far. He's such a badass, and I really hope we see more badass things from him.
I'm ready for him and Rhaenyra?
Rhaenys,
Rhaenys.
I believe.
Rhaenys to start
His
coming to
wife?
the forefront. Yes,
Yes.
I'm ready for
The
them
queen
to...
who never was.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
like right now, like they are very strong side characters. I'm ready for
Yeah.
their fucking
They're-
episodes.
so,
I'm
well-
ready for their episode.
Well, I think it will be coming. I mean, yes, I have read the book, but I don't know how much we're going to see from them. But they are talking about the Stepstones.
Right.
So I'll do a very quick background. So actually, the Stepstones was originally the land bridge that connected Essos to Westeros. The first men originally migrated from Essos on foot across this land bridge to Westeros. But then, just like it did in North America, it eventually broke up and now it's mostly ocean.
It's like how you can see Russia from Alaska's backyard.
Yes. So, but it is a main, and this is south, is kind of connected to Dorne.
I have a
This
question
is
though,
very
like,
south.
was nothing going on there in Game of Thrones? Like, are there people no longer there? Or, like, we didn't even hear about the Stepstones.
Well, maybe because of things that might have happened during this time
Okay,
period.
okay, great. Don't tell me stuff.
Yeah,
They
no,
didn't sign
but
the contract
the
with
thing
HBO.
is, like, it is a main shipping lane because if you want to go from Karth to Volantis to, you know, where they trade silk, spices, and whatnot, they have to come up through the Stepstones to get to Westeros, Pentos, Bravos, and all that. It is a main shipping lane, but right now it's a bunch of broken up little islands, which makes it very easy for pirates to just kind of block that area and pirate, steal all of the gold and valuables and
Plunder is the
resources.
verb you're looking
Plundering, yes, from these ships.
So it does
Privateers.
look, yeah, it does look like episode 3 is kind of gonna focus around these Stepstones and like
Yeah.
dealing with whatever is going on and the sudden infestation
Well,
of crabs.
Yes,
I guess.
because Corlys is especially concerned because his family built their wealth on shipping. He has all of the ships, and if they can't ship, then whatnot.
Yeah.
So, and then that would lead us into our next nugget. I would say is he was trying to say, well, what are we going to do about that? No one wanted to do anything, but Rhaenyra spoke up.
just get your fucking dragons.
Yeah, she's like,
And-
we got dragons.
One thing that I didn't notice the first time I watched, but the second time, is when she said, "You have dragon riders. Send us." Like that us part of her being like, and I am one of them, and I will lead. Like she was trying to take charge. That's awesome.
Fuck the patriarchy.
Yeah,
Which is
send
why-
us.
Which I feel this was a main theme of this episode was Rhaenyra being like, you just named me your heir, so here's what I think we should do. And then, what was it, Otto being like, excuse me, don't you think the princess needs a better job than
so-
pouring wine?
Can't she just look at men and choose one? Like, let's have her do that
Right.
instead.
I will say though, I feel like Otto is the first character that reads Game of Thronesy to me. The reason being, I can't quantify him. Like, I can't tell if he's going to be a good guy or a bad guy
I think-
or either side. He's going to play back and forth, and that reads more Game of Thrones.
I
to
think
me.
part of that is like good casting, because
Rhys
that
Ifans is killing
that
it.
actor is maybe in like almost more things than anyone else that we've probably seen recently, and he's been and so it's like we all recognize him as like, oh, he was this guy that
From
in that
Notting
one
Hill.
episode, yeah.
I always remember
I
from
know,
Notting
I
Hill
always
playing
remember.
the idiot.
But and he doesn't have like the sneaky look of Peter Baelish. Like he doesn't
Yeah,
like
yeah,
he
yeah.
doesn't he has this kind of like
Yeah.
downtrodden, like hapless appearance about him, but then he says shit, and you're like, hang on.
He is projecting some
Hang on.
power, but like in an understated way.
Remember, his wife recently died, and now it's just him.
That's true. Yeah,
and his
yeah.
son is,
His son is Road Rash.
Yeah, that's true.
They,
or as you called it, hamburger, I think.
Hamburger face, yeah. But
Ground
the thing
beef
is,
is
he is
horrible.
being the most manipulative right now because he's manipulating his daughter
Yeah,
to.
He's definitely
Because
playing
that's
the
another
game.
I
thing.
don't know how much of that is her agency or not. Like,
Well, no, because every time she's doing a real good job with the series, because one thing they mention numerous times, like they talk about in the first episode, they're saying everyone's name, and the second episode, it's been nearly 6 months. It's been almost half a year.
Yes.
I mean,
we get a lot of that in the first Game of Thrones season 2. Yeah.
but my point is she's been being really good with the king, and like she mended his dragon. But every time she's with her father, it's like I'm chewing my fingernails off and biting off my cuticles,
And
and
that-
you know.
That almost seems like she is not, I don't know. I don't think she's playing the game yet, necessarily. I think that she could have realized that she is happy with the match she has been thrusted into, so she's working hard to keep it.
I think she knows how to play the game, but she's conflicted about it.
I don't think she's maliciously
or has
like,
anxiety about it.
I think she's playing the game more when she's with her father than when she's with the king, because she genuinely somewhat enjoys his company. Probably not as a lover, but
So that will
She
change.
has
Sorry.
sympathy
Well,
for
no, not
lost
the fact that she is a lover will change. Whether she enjoys it or not, maybe not. But
So
the
really
fact that she's
quickly,
going
and
to
then
become.
it'll be your turn, Mark. Thomas says this is a great example of the power behind the throne. The king isn't running this kingdom. His hand and Grand Maester seem to have more real control in this instance, and I think he's right.
That's always been the case.
we
the
even
ones with the
saw
balls.
them
No, I don't
working
think that was
against
true.
each
Well,
other.
for the most part, the hand has usually always been the
Yeah.
one, at least in the periods that
fair.
we've
I was
seen.
my
gonna say,
gosh.
But I will say, I think how Alicent is playing it, it's actually there was the one scene I got a hint of Marjorie Tyrell and how Alicent is playing it. I mean, whether or not she actually wants to be the queen, whether or not she actually wants to marry the king. She had a moment of, the king met with Corlys and Rhaenys' daughter. The one who was
Oh,
all
God,
like,
that
it's
was
okay,
so
you don't have to bed me
uncomfortable.
till I'm 14. That one.
That was so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
That whole scene.
But
They had a cute
but
little
when
combo about
Viserys,
dragons, and then-
but oh my gosh, that little girl in her little dress and that hair,
But
she's,
also, I
she's so
gotta
adorable.
say, she projected some power too. That
yeah.
actress really did a
Yeah,
great job.
because she was like, I know what I. Anyway, but Alicent, the way she played the following scene, I was getting hints of Marjorie Tyrell because Viserys was all like, oh gosh, like, am I supposed to marry her? Do I really have to? Do we have to do that? And then Alicent just sat there very calmly and just said, I think she would make very good company for you. I think that would be great. She's like, I think it would be great if you married her. Now, whether or not she was actually trying to be like, please marry her and not me, or if it was just her trying not to pretend that she wanted
The
to
only
be
difference
I like
we,
this,
we
though.
don't we don't know yet.
How do you go, and then I'll go.
The only thing I was gonna say is Marjorie Tyrell wasn't ripping off her cuticles from stress, though.
But also we saw Marjorie Tyrell later in her life, right? We didn't see Marjorie Tyrell as a young
15-year-old.
That's true.
a teen,
Yeah.
a teen. And also she had fucking what's her face? Like she had the
Grandmama Tyrell.
yeah, she had Grandma Tyrell,
The Queen of Thorns.
the Queen of Thorns, who was like
We're
curating
gonna
her
murder
every
that
move.
king before we let
But
you marry
not
him.
even that. And so if you started as Alicent and also had the Queen of Thorns giving you information on how to act, you would absolutely. And I also never felt that. Not Marjorie, is that her name?
Yes.
I never felt, and maybe it's just because I love Natalie Dormer so much. I never felt that she was
Without
necessarily.
agency.
No, she was never without agency, ever. But also, she was never like doing stuff in order to solely benefit herself at the defeat of everyone else. She did stuff that, like, was almost for the good of everyone and also High Garden the most. Like that's what Marjorie did. Of like, how can I take this and make it the best for me and my family and also the country? Like, she always had that kind of stuff. So I kind of feel like Alicent can get to that point of once she doesn't have the scheming machination background. So once she learns that, she's gonna be great.
well then maybe after we've seen a few more episodes and see how Alicent plays this out,
Jamie.
then we can bring up this topic of conversation about her.
Okay, we're running out of time. Pick a last two.
Stand off at Dragonstone.
Okay,
Let's
I
go
would like
to
to say
Dragonstone.
something before we talk about this is that one thing, like the only note I wrote in my rewatch was I really am loving now the diversity of dragons we are seeing.
Yes.
Because like before we had 3, they looked the same, they were slightly different colors, but like
They were really
Daemon's dragon is so much more serpentine. The neck is long, like the whole
right.
body is
It was like a tiny
longer.
mouth and it has like higher pitched sounds.
It's so, but if you look at its whole body, like it has a super long snake-like body with wings and
It
legs.
looks like a flying
It is
Loch
a
Ness
snake.
monster.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's certainly
As
not
opposed to-
Drogon, who looked like he had an engine in his chest.
But even like
Or the other
Rhaenyra's
ones who look
dragon
like flying
is
tarantulas.
Cyrax is more
Cyrax.
compact, like more of the
Cyrax
shape
looks like a
we're
flying
used
T-Rex.
to. Yeah, and so I'm loving the fact that we, since we don't just have
Hi,
3
Brazil.
triplets of dragons, we're getting to see a more like
because
broad what the
all of these
species look
dragons
like.
are birth
Deep down.
like different dragons. We have never really been confirmed on how the dragons reproduce, but we know that the dragons just lay a horde of eggs and whatnot.
They're kept.
But back to the standoff, I just want to talk for a second about the amazing cinematography and the beautiful imagery that they created. Like,
It's like they
I don't think
posed
I ever saw anything like that in Game of Thrones, and we saw some really cool stuff.
They
I mean,
they
and
did
we
very
saw
well.
Dragonstone.
They posed these shots. There was the first shot when Daemon was like, "Here's the egg," and there was a wide shot of him doing that. And then there was the wide shot of him like holding up his sword like this. And then the way that Cyrax came in, everyone hears the dragon sound.
Coming up from
They all
the
turn their
clouds.
heads, and then you just see these clouds whoosh.
D-Rain82 says, I find Cyrax adorable. Fuck yes.
Yes.
Like, and
all
again,
the dragons
like,
with all the pettings.
But not, I don't know, the big long red one is not as pettable as
Okay,
Cyrax is.
but other than dragons, I do want to talk about like Daemon taking the egg. So, do we feel like Daemon had an ulterior motive and he wanted to start war, or did he really just genuinely want a dragon egg in his baby?
Oh, no.
I
I
think
think I have
he's
a
just
thought.
trying to make a stand.
He
He's
chose the egg.
Okay.
But I think that he is making, and of course this is true for everything.
He's
forever.
trying to prove his power.
Not only that, but also he is doing it with like 0 counselors, right? And so like as soon as he checked in with his
I
fucking
mean, he's got
team-
his Shay.
No, but
Shay 2.0.
but the fact,
She's
right?
not
Even with
counseling
Shay, he's not checking in with her. Like they had that whole scene afterwards where she was like, "The
Right.
fuck."
Right.
You told them I was
They were-
pregnant. You told them we were getting
And so I think that I hope that he will start to realize that like he needs to make actual choices as opposed to just doing whatever he thinks. Because as soon as his niece was like, "Hey, yo, this is what you just set up, and this is why it's fucked up, and also your wife hates you, or your future second wife hates," like all of this, and then he was like, "Right, let me toss you this egg and go." And
What I do love. All right, one quick note about his and Rhaenyra's relationship is that they totally seem to get each other, but also like they always speak Valyrian to each other.
Yeah.
Even though all of the Targaryens know Valyrian, they are the only ones that like whenever they are alone together, they always speak Valyrian to each other.
So this is a really cool one from Thomas. The best and worst part about these amazing and beautiful dragons is they're all mates who grew up together, and it's going to be heart-wrenching watching these beasts get pitted against each other.
Yeah, like rookery mates, like they were raised together in the same.
It's called the Civil War. It's called the Dragon Civil War.
Quick last thoughts, and then I have one thing that I want to just finish up. So we don't really have much time.
I
so-
think
Yeah,
that
just-
we responded almost most to the fact that Matt Smith was so fucking casual with that dragon egg.
Right.
Well,
he was like tossing. He was batting
And
it around in
also,
his arm.
another comment on Matt Smith is I think that we are starting to see, like, I am starting to be convinced that he can take on this
Yeah,
character.
yeah.
Like, I was not convinced in the first episode. And
I
that
am
last, the scene where it was, like, being Matt Smith gave it some levity, but also, like, he was able to take it to a dark place. So I am being more convinced that Matt Smith can be this character.
You seem to
I
have-
was actually, I may be in a minority here, I was actually a little disappointed in how they played out that last scene with Corliss, because there was such a slow pan to who he was speaking with. I thought we were going to get something unexpected. Of course, I mean, Damon is the only person to really
Yeah.
team up with that we know of to team up with against Viserys. I was just like, who's it going to be? Who's it going to be? I'm like, oh, well, it's Damon. So, I mean, I'm just sorry that it was almost like a bait and switch, you know.
So here's what most excites me, and I think we'll close it out on this one. What most excites me about this show is it is both in the world but also wholly different than Game of Thrones. Like, it feels familiar enough that I know what's going on
As far as the politics.
as far as the politics go, but it is not one person out there trying to get power and gathering their like people across an Essos and one
It's not
person fighting
Daenerys.
the wall. There is almost no mention of the White Walkers as this huge threat that is constantly popping up here and there. It's sort of almost like a slice of life so far. Like, here's what life is like in Westeros as we're just trying to deal with things like pirates and shipping trades and things like that. So
And a king who has no heir that everybody was trying to
But
scramble to
and
figure
then
out who was
D.
going to
Rain
be
also
heir.
talks about how Rhaenyra is the only one Daemon can stand. It's like they have like a real relationship.
Yeah, like
Uncle, niece,
and also
familial.
like
possibly future
he's-
married. We don't
he's
know.
the
I don't
cool
know.
uncle that she has, you know, like oh, like they can, they're almost siblings, like
Well,
Okay. All right.
like we nailed
I
it.
think that'll take
yeah,
us
we're
out.
over
Yeah.
time. So,
Take us out, Andrew.
all right. So we are the Knights of the Drunk Watch.
And now,
And
our
now
talk
our talk has ended.
We'll see
We'll
you
be
in
back
an
to watch
hour
the show in an hour.
10 minutes, 15 minutes to watch it. We're so excited.
oh, perfect.
Bye.
You guys enjoy it, and then goodbye. Hold on, end stream.
Yeah, I mean, because like, yeah, they are.
And end.
They are